Hey, I'm Steven. Welcome to Morning Jams on the Porch with Steven Leake. Today's Friday, February 27th, 2026. I've got a hell of a show for you today, at least written out that way. Hopefully it's going to be a little bit longer than usual. I've got a ton of some more some added segments for today, and they're going to just be a treat. So, if you just joined me, overall, you don't know who I am. My name's Steven Leake, as I said. I many things. I kind of started off as a poet, author, a writer. After kind of getting hit with a catastrophic illness, very right off the bat at West Point, I was part of the first post 9/11 class there. I came home from there, passed my illness, got into poetry. In high school, I had a band. I was a drummer and bass and guitar player for a band called Johnny Slacker. We were pretty good. We put out a demo you can find on Spotify, and also we won like Battle of the Bands at our high school 2 years in a row. Basically, though, our singer was pretty decent, but he kind of went the whole Sid Barrett route after doing shrooms at a concert in Atlanta. They kind of left, kind of abandoned the band. So it was me and my guitarist I had mad chemistry with, right? Left to write lyrics. Nothing really became of that. We weren't that good at it. Neither one of us all that good at lyric writing. But that led to both of us, me writing poetry. And so I spent the next, well now it's ongoing, but I spent the next 25 years developing my craft as a poet and a writer. Let's see. I have two published poetry collections put out through my imprint, Monarch Literary. The first one's called Naked Shadowboxing. It's based off the opening scene of Apocalypse Now, where Martin Sheen's characters is like having this thing where he's like fist fighting the mirror and stuff. Naked Shadowboxing comes from that. And then my second poetry collection is called Light Through the Pines. It's available at Amazon. And get it today. I need to put this so we won't get it. Alright. I've got a couple new segments for today. I've actually got my entire kind of like resistance library. My like military thinking, my strategic kind of business philosophy, all that kind of good stuff. All the books I have on those subjects. And I've got all my Monarch t-shirts that I'm going to show you, including this one, which you can buy at monarcheverywhere.com. The site is not really fully up right now, but if you just reach out to me to my social media, and you see the shirt you like, just tell me, and you can get it through me. I've got my coffee. My Coke gives a little caffeine to me. We're actually doing this in the morning, close to the morning. It's like 11, but before noon. And I've got like a full show written out. We're going to go into Iran, what's going on with the potential conflicts over there, and like who's actually behind this. Because it's not something that why is Donald Trump seemingly doing exactly the opposite of what he promised us, in kind of a 180 kind of turnaround, doing this would be the worst possible thing for what his base does not want this, and I'll explain why that is. And I'm going to it. If you don't mind me chowing down some ice cream, I haven't really eaten breakfast yet. Okay. Let's get our incense lit. Let's get the show on the road. I've got like a big 60-page script I can read from. I don't have to, but it's there. And then I have on my phone an outline to go through, to go by off of, whatever. Got that up there. Okay. So I always do this whenever I open up the show at the incense. Let's talk about establishing a routine. In light of certain things coming to light with Epstein, I'm not going to call it a ritual because it just has negative connotations, but it is. I mean, it's just like something you do repetitively to frame your day, right? I use Nag Champa versions of brand of incense. Classic. This just gives us a visual, gives me a visual cue of how much time has gone by. It's going to create some ambiance and atmosphere with some smoke coming up between us. So let's get that lit. Pour yourself a hot cup of coffee. Get woken up. We made it to the next day. So there's that. I'm gonna be start talking more and more to my regular crowd, my morning ritual crowd. To use those words, I have kind of a dedicated kind of viewership that watches this instead of like watching the news in the morning. They have coffee and they start their day with me. So I'm gonna kind of be addressing those people primarily. And then, we're can onboard newcomers. So we get our incense going. I'm gonna close that. And that's that. Morning jams on the porch. Friday, February 27th, 2026. Order in the midst of shaking. It's a different day, same porch, same invariant. Yesterday we talked about global contests and civilizational stress fields. Today we talk about shaking. Because shaking reveals structure. And Scripture has something to say about that. So we're going to go into the Geneva 1599 Bible. It's the one I use because it was written before the King James was kind of adapted to be more amenable to power, saying things like render unto Caesar, things like that. Whereas the 1599 is more kind of a Patriot's Bible. It's known as the Patriot's Edition. It's what the founding fathers used to write the foundational documents. It's when my ancestor Mary Chilton was the first European woman to set foot on the New World, brought with her. Okay. Hebrews 12:26-28. Whose voice then shook the earth, but now he hath promised, saying, Yet once more I shake not the earth only, but also heaven. And this word, yet once more, significance that removeth of those things which are shaken, as of things which are made, that those things which are not shaken may remain. Which force, wherefore, we receiving a kingdom which cannot be shaken, let us have grace, whereby we may so serve God, that we may please Him with reverence and fear. Let's slow that down. Removing of those things which are shaken, that those things which are not shaken may remain. That is thermodynamics of civilization. Shaking is equal to here entropy exposure. Removal is a phase transition. The remaining becomes the invariant. It's like what I've been saying with like the exposure of these Epstein files. We're seeing the extent of the damage done to the patient. We now know how to operate, what to remove, how to save the patient. The Geneva translators note that this shaking removes temporary constructs so eternal structure may endure. That is not chaos, that is filtration. Sorry. We are living in filtration years. Institutions are shaken, currencies are shaken, narratives are shaken, and geopolitical orders are shaken. The verse says, don't panic. It says grace. Receiving a kingdom which cannot be shaken. Invariant. Okay. The I Ching Eastern Thought Correspondence. Hexagram 51, Zen, Z-H-E-N, the arousing thunder. Okay, there. Okay. Thunder over thunder, shock in the image. Shock comes, and fear arises, but the superior man remains composed. Shock does not destroy him, it awakens him. This is perfect for today. Hebrews says shaking removes the unstable. The I Ching says shock awakens discipline. Shock tests the structure. If you collapse under shock, you lacked invariant. If you stabilize under shock, you possess it. Okay. We're going into our next little segment. I'm going to burn one. If you got them, smoke them if you got them. Before we go into a geopolitical segment, I want to go over some books I have. I think if you certainly don't have to read all of them, never read anything, don't do anything you have to say, obviously, but these are kind of recommendations I would give as to books that would be further reading on political strategy, on military thinking, business philosophy strategies, things like that, including some like just straight up conspiracy books. I'll show you. Let's get into it. Okay, a classic. On War by General Karl von Clausewitz. This is kind of the gold standard by which our modern military kind of bases a lot of its thinking. Von Clausewitz. Foundational to modern military thought. Alright. Jevons, The Theory of Political Economy. We read the back. In this late 19th century heyday, neoclassical economics introduced new standards of intellectual rigor and mathematical analysis to economic thought, and silencing the overtones of inevitability present in both the classical and Marxist traditions, was able to train a highly significant spotlight on the choices available to differing interests within a market system. Perhaps more surprising, however, despite Keynes, neoclassical economic thought still has insights to offer at present day, even if it's treated more as a norm than a description. Anyway, that's kind of some archaic wording, but foundational text. Alright. Just kind of get random, no particular order, but Ender's Game. So this is like a fiction novel, sci-fi, but it's taught at the Army War College. The Army War College, you have to be like a colonel, an active current colonel in the military, and then you go, it's like a ongoing professional studies kind of thing. But it basically talks about a scenario, this sci-fi scenario, but where it's like humanity fights aliens. It's like we've kind of in a situation where we fought them already several different times. They're coming back for like a final confrontation. So at this point, the humans have developed child super geniuses. They breed genius, like military genius children, to like fight their battles for them and to fight the aliens. and this introduces the concept of the war room, where you simulate what you're gonna do in your battle plans ahead of time. There's a lot of stuff in here that modern kind of warfighting is kind of runs parallel to. I don't want to say that this came from this, but this is taught at the War College. Conspiracy book. Conspirators' Hierarchy, the story of the Committee of 300. This goes into like the New World Order, one world government kind of thing. You know. Listen to me a little bit. If you are puzzled and perplexed as to why things are occurring that we as a nation don't like, yet seem powerless to prevent, why it is that the United States always seems to back the wrong horse, why the United States is in a depression from which it will not emerge, why our former social and moral values have been turned aside and seemingly buried. If you are confused by the many conspiracy theories, the conspirators' hierarchy of the Committee of 300 will clearly establish that these conditions have been deliberately created to bring us to our knees. That's my understanding of it too, as well. And I can point to all these things happening, but it's not hopeless, as we have, through Donald Trump and through an emergent new American system, are fighting back and winning, I should say. This is a trilogy written by Michael Aquino. He's like an NSA general. That's not the right terminology for that, but it's something like that. He's a military officer. Now he's like full out Satanist. It's its own religion, official religion. He's a avowed Satanist. So if you want to read what they write about how to fight war, about how to he kind of integrates his religion with how he fights war. You want to understand, think behind this, what they're about. I'm missing the main one, the first book, right here. I don't have it right here, but it's somewhere back in my building, my apartment. I'm just gonna read the back. Mindstar explores the mystery of the human soul, what it is, how it can be detected, how it can be creatively and productively activated. Included is a historical survey of misapprehensions, misuses, and outright rejections of the central, crucial metaphysical core of human existence. The soul, or mind star, is redefined herein, is the key to individual consciousness immortality. The author's companion book, Mind War, details the thought architecture, which is subject to natural and artificial manipulation, subconscious/pattern and conscious/algorithmic thinking. Mindstar addresses metaphysical conceptual thought, which is independent of such influence. Okay, and this is the third volume, called Find Far. It's a trilogy written by military officer, Satanist, Michael Aquino, fairly recently. I'll read the back. Find Far is the third volume in the series, which began with Mind War in 2013 and continued with Mindstar in 2016. The first book introduced practical technology for reducing, if not completely eliminating, the scourge of physical warfare afflicting humanity by neutralizing violent irrationality in the human subconscious and replacing it with the impulse to create a cooperation, integrating a new framework for international problem solving, reverse engineered to eliminate crisis preemptively. Whereas Mind War concentrates exclusively on the physical machinery of the human brain, Mindstar adds the missing element of metaphysical identity, what humans until now have only vaguely sensed as the soul. Now this genius, at the core of every scientist being, every sentient being, is brought into full illumination and definition as the Mindstar. And finally, Find Far completes this evolutionary adventure by superseding old static three-dimensional analysis and planning with the fourth-dimensional Mind War dynamic of Find Far, changing the future from reactive to active, and adding the fifth dimension of individual creative perspective enabled by the Mindstar. I mean, it's like, it goes on like that, and it's like, this guy has a reputation for being a certain way, and I mean, it's different. This is kind of it's unique, to say the least. It's entertaining, if nothing else. Also, I have Theory of Games and Economic Behavior by John von Neumann and Oscar Morgenstern. This is basically a textbook on game theory and economics. Okay, I'll read the back. John von Neumann and Oscar Morgenstern conceived a groundbreaking mathematical theory of economic and social organization based on a theory of games and strategy. Not only would this revolutionize economics, but the entirely new field of scientific inquiry it yielded, game theory, has since been widely used to analyze a host of real-world phenomena, from arms races to optimal policy choices of presidential candidates. From vaccination policy to Major League Baseball salary negotiations, it is today established throughout both the social sciences and a wide range of other sciences. Game theory. Foundational text theory of games and economic behavior. Okay, next, I've got another kind of textbook. This comes from the Structural Analysis in the Social Sciences, Governance of the American Economy. This is really dense. It's got math in it, it's diagrams, but if you were able to read the previous one, theories of games, economic behavior, understand that, and read this one, you'd be damn near an expert with just these two books. Alright, I'm getting into some. I'm doing one more game theory book. This is more like a kind of everyday, kind of consumer level game theory book. The Art of Game Theory. If life's a game, what are the rules, and more importantly, where are they written? How to win life's ultimate payoffs. This is the craft of prediction, influence, and empathic strategy. Then I have some kind of hermetic texts. These are kind of like the one I'm going to show you next was written in the 20s. It was based off of like some ancient, supposed alleged ancient texts that are the basis of like secret society, religions, mystery cults, things like that. Okay, this is called the Kabbalion. It's hermetic philosophy. Like I said, it's what all your kind of Kabbalah, your secret societies, your Babylonian mystery cults are all based off this kind of stuff. It's just philosophy. Okay. And also that we have the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, the Atlantean. This is what the elites believe, or at least claim to believe. This is basically like the Bible written in a different language. What I mean by that is it's like a different kind of characters and like superficial information written, but it's basically the story of the Bible, written with like a different cast of characters and words to describe the same thing. This is what all the elites like, this kind of shit. And it goes with the kind of the Kabbalion, the Hermetic philosophy, the Atlantean fable, myth, whatever you call it. Okay, this is these are the next two. Actually, it's pretty dense, pretty foundational stuff. USMC Tactics. There's also a version of another book called USMC Strategy. I don't have it with me. And then we have USMC Warfighting. Definitely get these two if you're going to get in it. Warfighting, Strategy, and Tactics. I don't have this strategy with me, but these three, you can extrapolate a whole system from that. Alright, next. J.J. Tucker, The Art of Guerrilla Warfare. A good read, a good addition to one of our more foundational texts on the subject, more academic angles towards it. This is going to be more of like every person's kind of guide. It's basically going to be axioms towards that kind of way of thinking. And again, the biggest thing about that is to develop a mindset that's capable of like resistance and strategic maneuvering, strategic decision making. That's what we're actually going to be reading books like this for. We're going to develop a mindset that's going to soak up this information and then be able to apply it by giving a strategic decision making process. Alright, this is just kind of more of a historical kind of artifact than anything else. Simple sabotage field manual from the OSS. You can get these on Amazon. I think it's pretty neat. The Simple Sabotage Field Manual is a World War II era document created by the United States Office of Strategic Services, OSS, to provide guidance to resistance groups on how to disrupt enemy operations through covert means. Alright. This goes back to the conspiracy stuff. But, I mean, it pretty much drops right into what we're seeing today. None dare call it conspiracy. In that same vein, This is you're gonna get one. You're gonna get out of this whole stack. USMC warfighting, USMC strategy, USMC tactics, and then pawns in the game. This is going to give you just a straight overview of like the international communist conspiracy as it's best understood. Pawns in the game. I have a written by William Guy Carr, and then you get this, and then I don't have it with me here, but Behold the Pale Horse by William Cooper, Bill or William Cooper. Okay. Pawns in the Game. I've got a song called Pawns in the Game, so that comes from this. Right, next is The Guerrilla's Guide to Signals Intelligence. Guerrilla's Guide to Signals Intelligence is an insight into the process of collecting and exploiting signals intelligence with common off-the-shelf equipment. It is a look at intelligence collection and refinement with the underlying skills necessary to create a signals intelligence collection package, and most importantly, what to do with it. From amateur radio operators to activists alike, this manual will provide a primer for anyone monitoring the RF spectrum in a high-threat environment. And this would involve you just get like you can get like a Stingray device, what like cops use, or anybody that, or private eyes would use to set up like a cell tower, something that mimics like a cell tower. Your cell phone pings to it, and then that person has all your cell phone information. This is I found this at my coffee shop. This is the first edition, book one, the Foxfire book. This is Appalachian wisdom for like survival, for traditional skills. Some of it was like, this is a present from God. Just being in my little $5 book nook at my coffee shop at Amelie's. The Foxfire. This is a whole series like box set of like, it's basically like Appalachian like folk recipes and for medicine, traditional crafts like hog dressing, log cabin building, mountain crafts and foods, planting by the signs, snake lore, hunting tales, faith healing, moonshining, and other fairs of plain living. It's a collector's item, by the way. Alright, almost done. This is I think this is a second copy, Pawns in the Game, a different edition. Alright. You might be familiar. Hillary Clinton did her master's thesis, or either law school, something like that, did one of her master's thesis on this book, Rules for Radicals by Saul Alinsky. This is the playbook of the Democrats, have been for a long time. It can apply, you can use these principles for any kind of activism, but they just kind of fit with what the Democrats do. Again, this is a very important thing. Rules for Radicals, Saul Alinsky. Okay. This basically talks about, gives you history of the U.S. role in breaking the Nazi codes. This basically talks about the cryptography program during World War II at Bletchley Park, which basically is where we get our today's NSA from. The Ultra-Americans, the U.S. role in breaking Nazi codes by Thomas Parrish. The cryptography program, the code-breaking program at Bletchley, UK, becomes the model and what our NSA was built from. Alright, this is just kind of a conspiracy book, but you know, these things do have interesting information in them. The Cosmic Conspiracy. This is an underground classic. Well, it's suppressed technology, UFOs, biblical prophecy, is back in print, blah blah blah. I love stuff like this. This is not something you're gonna find all over the place, but this is not the only version of this, or only thing like this. There's tons of stuff that people have been circulating throughout the throughout the John Bircher Society, the movements, kind of the militia movements, the sovereign citizen movements, and all the stuff during the 90s. It's like Bill Cooper and all that kind of stuff. It kind of follows. Then it comes in. That kind of goes into Alex Jones in the the 2000s, and then you follow that up to present day with Joe Rogan and all these people getting involved, and then the current release the Epstein files. It's one long thing, kind of a conspiracy primer, if you will. All right. The last thing I have is just kind of like a little guidebook for like what I use for like my publishing company. My publishing and print, how to create a self-publishing book and print, just like how to like register an ISBN number, stuff like that. That's not really that big of a deal. But anyway, those are the books. That is a education in international conspiracies, communist conspiracies, esoteric wisdom, occult belief, the philosophical foundations of that, some practical handbooks and guides to warfighting strategy, tactics, and military thinking with Clausewitz, some political activism, foundational texts, and rules for radicals. Let's see what else you got. A good overview of like what people the current thinking on the international kind of New World Order conspiracy. You got books of that. With the Foxfire book, it's kind of the antidote, the solution for it is just get self-sufficient, grow a victory garden, grow your own supplies, get bulk medication sent to you. Check out the JASE system, JaceMedical.com. They're physicians connected to a pharmacy. They'll give you a legitimate like physician, physical, whatever you need, medically. They'll prescribe you what you need in bulk, like a year's worth, and that's fully legal. What any physician can do, really. But anyway, this is I'm gonna go back to this Foxfire book. My antidote to all this crazy shit that's going on. Get self-sufficient. Start a victory garden. Get chickens. Hell, man, if I had the money, I'd get a couple cows and I'd get some pigs. I'd get the whole thing. That's just me. Become self-sufficient. I offer through Monarch Sovereign Systems, a full digital setup to where we get you on your own, basically internet node. Get you a low-ra, several different low-ra mesh network, Veritas network, connectivity, internet nodes. You can build like you can buy them. We can buy a node from us, or you can download the software and burn it onto your own Raspberry Pi, and then you've got a working node to give you internet connectivity. This is not like the internet that you are familiar with. This is basically my version of it, which is I call it the Web 5 architecture. It uses signals similar to how internet works, but it's not the same thing. It uses a low-ra network, like I say, mesh network of Raspberry Pi nodes to generate active connectivity to my specific my specific like internet and Web 5 internet. And then you can, it functions like the internet does, but it's a separate, different system. We went through some textbooks on American governance, the economy governance, and then the kind of the foundational text on game theory. All right, let's play some music now. That's a lot of intellectual shit I'm throwing at you right there. But let's play some music then. This is a pig holder that my mom got me this past Christmas. Christmas is like a big deal for us because I'm on disability. I get basically my whole supplies with like clothes, shoes, everything I need for like the year that I can't really get for myself. My family gets for me and provides for me basically on Christmas, like birthday, and my birthday. And the biggest thing is Christmas, and I talk about this in my my podcast on I talk about my family, and like when I'm going into I talk about the concept of Santa Claus in American culture and Coca-Cola. Then I also talk about my own Leake family Christmas traditions. I talk about it there, about how Christmas is like really important to me. We do a big shindig with it at my uncle's place. He does woodworking. That's our family business. I grew up working there. It's called Leake Furniture Makers. It used to be called Leake's Antiques. People were getting kind of confused about thinking it was just an antique store. It started in the 1956 with my great-grandfather. No, that's not right. My grandfather, Buddy Leake, and he started doing selling antiques, repairing antiques, doing like reproductions then my uncle takes over from my grandfather in the 80s and starts adding reproductions. That makes basically just building complete, like 1700 style furniture from scratch. Reproductions of 17th century, like Chippendale kind of stuff, furniture and stuff. He's now kind of nationally known for it. He has built custom woodworking stuff, custom woodwork for the Trump White House and the Trump State Department. Basically building wooden federal boxes for diplomats and foreign dignitaries. It also did a box for the Queen of England. There was a gift from President Trump to the Queen of England for the 75th anniversary of D-Day. And the box my uncle made, and my cousin Jay, he looks just like me, by the way. Anyway, they built a box had an inlay, or not an inlay, an engraving of the White House, and it held a Tiffany's brooch piece of jewelry that was a gift to the Queen. Like I said, on the 75th anniversary of D-Day. That's like what my uncle and cousin kind of got famous for. And they kept in these, during the first Trump administration, we're supplying the State Department with boxes, those kind of gift boxes for foreign diplomats and stuff, gifts. And that's kind of the cool little addition to my family's history, among other things. And then my family's also kind of featured on a different kind of side of the same family, was featured in a CNN special. This field's right here, like a mile away. Then my uncle's shop is like a mile away that way. So it's all in one place. It's weird how it's kind of happening. Anyway, it was a CNN special called "The Simrels, A Family in Black and White." Basically, you have one family, one side is black, one side is white. That connect to a pretty colorful history. This is going to be common throughout the South, though. Any family that's been here that long, been here the whole time, is going to have a similar story. So it talks about in the CNN special. It's Anderson Cooper talking about my family members. This is like my first cousins and shit. Our second, third cousins also. We have the reunions and like the black and white, both sides reunions get together. Something my dad went to like I think it was last year when this was filmed. Even I haven't been to that most recent one, but because I've been out of the area. But anyway, check it out. CNN special. It's called "The Simrels, A Family in Black and White." Ongoing stuff, ongoing goodness. Just play some music. I've gotten a pick jam down in here because it was too big. I forced it in, but I'll get that out. Okay. I'm still taking suggestions for naming this guitar. It's not very good luck to have a guitar you don't have a name for. At a certain point, if I don't get any more suggestions, I'm just gonna do what I want. Alright. I'm gonna do spring. I think it's good luck at this point to start off with spring. I wrote that song for my niece Daphne. Like the whole reason I'm doing any of this, so that my little niece doesn't grow up in a world that's too fractured or broken. The kind of the highest good you can do while we're on this earth is to make things better for the next generation, right?